Welcome to Embracing Wisdom with Stacy. That's me. I'm glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about the end of the year. What does that mean? And a new term that I learned for this sacred time of the year. So I'm glad that you're here. It's great to have you here. It's been a minute since I did a podcast, but if you watched last podcast or listened to the last podcast, I was really struggling with feeling completely overwhelmed with a lot of different medical opinions and decisions that I had to just hit the time out button, like literally stop. Plus, December is historically my busiest time of year because not only am I making a million little holiday gift items to help people give unique holiday gifts. I'm also participating in what I call karma yoga projects with my yoga classes in the community in assisted living homes. We go out and we serve other people and we give to people. And so it's a lot of playing Santa Claus. It's a lot of extra work, but it fills my heart. So podcast was on hold, but I'm back in action. And today we're going to talk about why it's so important to review your year. How do you review your year? Why do we do this intention setting and all of that? And then what do we do with it? So I want to talk to you about that. And this is a practice that I've been doing for over 20 years. I think I'm actually into year 28 in doing this. And so the way that I think about it is our intention is a thread that gets woven into the tapestry of our life. And if we look at our beautiful life as a tapestry, there are going to be years or threads within our tapestry that are golden and shiny and sparkly and so beautiful. Then there's going to be really gnarly threads that are coarse and they break and it's a mess. But all of those years or intentions make up you. And I think that's so important to be able to think of it in those ways that we're not just saying I'm going to do something or I'm going to achieve a goal. We're looking at what's behind that. How am I going to feel throughout the year as this word becomes a focus? So my word for 2025 was renewal, and I wanted to bring newness into my life. If you've been following along for a while, you know that my life really changed dramatically in 2024 when I had a total hip replacement that went terribly awry. Nobody's fault, but it went awry. And I'm still facing implications from that. And I still have another surgery ahead of me. I have two more ahead of me. And so, how do I create a newness in my business? How do I let go of the old business that allowed me to be in over 60 assisted living homes and be on the floor and rub people's feet and moving their bodies that are paralyzed? How do I put that away and create something new? So I wanted to look at how I can renew my business or renew myself. I was still going full steam. And then this year I had to stop because my body just does not allow me to do that anymore. So I had to find a new path to service. And I just wanted to have a new way of thinking about what I'm here to do purpose wise. My new habits, I wanted to cultivate new habits in my life that would lend itself to a more joyful life. I wanted to renew a lot of things in my life. And so, as we have just a few more days left in 2025, I made a mental list of all the new things. And I got a new job, sort of. I'm a contractor, but I'm a wellness coach, a health and behavioral wellness coach, which means I get to help people who are struggling change their mindset, work through their pain, to develop a new narrative in their brain. I get to work with people finding new ways, new tools to deal with the hard things in life. Everything I love to do. So I have a new role. I can also be teaching yoga to these individuals if they would want that, but this job is not as physically demanding. And so that's new. It's been a huge learning curve and it's been really hard and challenging, and it has humbled me because I think I got really comfortable in being really good at what I know and then having to learn like the logistics side of this job. I can do the work, but it's all the paperwork stuff. It was really hard for me. So that was a new thing. I got a new puppy. I'm sure if you follow my social media, you saw that this sweet little Chihuahua just landed in my life, and I'm so grateful for her. She's brought a ton of joy. My new garden this year, it's not new garden, but I did it differently this year, and it will be even more different next year as I'm letting go of being a vegetable farmer and I'm going to be a flower farmer. But I did new things with my garden. A lot of them failed, and that's okay. I tried something new. I tried new techniques, new way of patterning my plants. I I got a new car. That was last year at the very end, but there was a newness to it, right? And a new acceptance that I had to get this higher up car because I couldn't get into my sporty little car that I loved so much. So there was a lot of new, and I also developed a deep appreciation for a really stellar and solid meditation practice. And I really started that at the tail end of last year. I had lost my meditation practice for a while, and I came back to it towards the end of last year, end of 2024, and it stayed with me every single day of 2025. There's not a day that goes by that I don't spend at least 30 minutes filling my heart and filling my brain with goodness, and I love that. It's reset me in many, many ways. It's put in a new way of being for me. And so that has been really cool. But I'm ready to tie it up in a pretty package, and that's what I think about it as I look at all the new things in my life, and I think about the feelings that they've brought to me: humbleness, fear, frustration, joy, fatigue. And I put all of those feelings in a mental box, and I put a little mental bow on top, and I tie it up and I pack it away. And then I begin the process of what do I want to create for 2026? And that is what I learned. There's an actual term for this. The days between Christmas and Epiphany, I like to say the days between Christmas and New Year's is what I've always, that week space between, is where I close up my year energetically. I think about all the things that I have done well, all the things that were celebrations, all the things that I learned, put it in a box, tie it with a bow, put it in my heart and into my head. And then I begin the process of choosing a new intention or a new word for the following year. That's actually a practice or a term in the Celtic tradition called the Omen Days, where the Celts believe each day of those 12 days of between Christmas and Epiphany correlate to a month of the coming year. And so as you devote time to being in nature and you pay attention and you're awake, you might just see a repeated bird, for example. That might be an omen. You might see a certain tree and feel like you're really called to that. There's things that come into our lives all the time that could be considered omens. And if we miss them, we miss this opportunity to look at ourselves and look at what might be Spirit asking me to look at for the coming year. And so I love that. I did not even know that there was a term for this magical week, but there is. And of course, being also Irish, I love that it's a Celtic tradition. So I'm spending time closing up 2025. I've taken a step back from my YouTube channel, from my podcast, from my blog, to just decompress, to just let all the sand settle so that I have clarity. And I talk about this all the time, how our life is often like a vase of water. We pour in sand from our job, from our family, from the holidays, from our pain, from all the things in our life, and it gets really muddy. So the vase goes over there, the sand settles to the bottom, and now I have clarity. I have my word for 2026. I thought it was going to be a different word, but the word that I thought it was going to be, I'm already a master at. So I think I was chickening out. I think I was wanting to take the easy road for 2026, and that's not how I roll. So I ditched that word, and then I got clear, and now I have an amazing word that I will be sharing with you January 1st in a brand new season, a brand new podcast season. We're going to start strong, and the word will lend itself to having a weekly podcast consistent. So I haven't chosen what day it's going to land, but there will be a consistent podcast day. So you faithful listeners can plan on whatever day of the week it is, that knowing that there will be a new podcast to drop. I'm not sure what's going to happen with my YouTube channel. That's another one of those renewal things. I gave it 110% for over a year. And it's not that I wanted something to happen. I didn't have a need to go viral. I didn't need that. Oh, a big thing last year or this year, 2025, is I published a book. That's a huge new thing. How could I forget that? And so I put a lot of energy into the book and I sort of stepped back from YouTube because I'm not sure what it's giving me. Is it still giving me joy? If it is still giving me joy, then I will keep doing it. But if I find myself feeling like I have to record and it drains me and it doesn't bring me joy, that's going to be out of alignment with my new word for 2026. So my word that's coming, my thoughts, words, and actions have to align with that. Otherwise, I'm not doing it. So that'll be new for Stacy because I say yes to everything and I do everything for everything. So I'm learning. So we're going to close up this year, close up this podcast. I would invite you to sit with yourself and take your mind back to January and back to the months where it was cold and you were kind of embarking on a freshness. We all feel that the coming year. And then we move into spring and there's a lot of hubbub, a lot of inertia, right? And then summer comes and that inertia kind of fades into lollygagging. And then we feel full with the harvest and then we get busy. So think about your year. What did you learn? What feelings arose for you this year? And then when you feel like you have reevaluated your year and you've pulled some nuggets out of your experience for 365 days, just put it away and then spend some time quiet or in nature away from people and really ask your heart, what is it that I want to create for my life? Who do I want to become? What do I want to feel in 2026? It is what we feel will lead us to our word or our intention or the thread that gets woven. When I figured out my word for 2026 and realized the word that I thought it was, that wasn't going to give me feelings that I needed. And I knew I needed certain feelings coming into next year. So I'm excited to share with you the word. I will be revealing that first podcast of January, and I'll talk about why I chose it and my work. I feel like when we put power to our intention by speaking it, sharing it, posting about it, sticky notes all over our house, we put power in the intention. So if you have a word for your year coming up, tell somebody about it. Tell me, tell other people, tell strangers. Because when we talk about it, we become it. It starts to become a narrative that is habitual. It's something we think about all the time. I write the words everywhere. I define the words. I have affirmations for the words. I have an essential oil blend for the word. I have everything. I have a crystal chosen already to support this word. So I encourage you to do all of that or a little bit of it and just see where it takes you for 2026. So we'll talk more about that in the first podcast of the next season. But I wanted to close up this year with saying that's kind of why I disappeared the last month. And I still am faced with major medical stuff, but that's just something I had to put over there. And that was a new way for me. You know, all of 2024, every basic YouTube video or podcast was about living with chronic pain. And that doesn't mean that I don't have chronic pain still. I just didn't want it to be right in front of my face all the time. So a new way for me to deal with chronic pain was to not talk about it all the time and not share how to overcome it or how to live through it or how to make the best of it. I got tired of doing that. And so it is. I have pain. I need another hip surgery. I have another surgery coming up that's a big deal. I just need to let it go. And I think 2026 word will help me to do that and take it even further than just letting it go because it's real. It's not like I can just forget about it. But I just needed a break. So that's why you haven't heard many updates on what's going on with the hip or the other stuff, which is blood clots in my arm. So all that to say, I invite you to think about yourself, think about your year, find gratitude and appreciation for your year, Take a deep breath, exhale it all out, and then spend a few days getting clear on what you want to create for next year. And then we link arms, and I'm here to support you and partner with you in helping you to create your best life. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being in my corner. Thank you for subscribing and supporting me in so many ways. Just listening is more helpful than you can know. So please keep listening, keep sharing, and we're in it together for 2026. So I will see you next week, first week of January. It might even be later this week. We'll see. We'll see what a day I figure that I'll be dropping a podcast every day. So thanks for listening, and I will see you all soon. Be well.